happens again. That's shit. Look at how pretty those are. And my tools, see how pretty? Okay. All right, baby. Metal Chef. Okay, we're going to start off with a little cheap plastic container. That's all you need. A little splash of water, filtered. Want to get as much chlorine and garbage out of there. Now, I'm going to use some of my pre-packaged, now, no comments, guys. I want to hear some of the stuff I did on Facebook, man. You guys were just rotten to me. It's about, you know, all those nasty cocaine comments and stuff. This is flour. We don't do the drug thing here. The Metal Chef is clean. It's a family show, okay? So I'll just dump some of that in there. I'll take my nice little Ziploc bag over to the trash compactor. Yes, I compact my trash. I hate it. Thing weighs so much. It's terrible. Nasty machine. These bags are expensive. Okay, so anyway, just kind of whisk it up all nice and, you know, fluffy like, and it's a real simple process, and I'll take you through this here. And you're going to keep this, oh gosh, for years to come if you're careful. And it's not like it's a lot of work. It's kind of like having a pet, you know, a wife. Oh, no, I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. Ladies, don't beat me. I'd like to have another girlfriend someday, maybe. As long as she's not too expensive. No, God, I didn't mean that either. That was a joke. God, I probably won't date again for 20 years now. Okay, all right. So you just kind of mix it up, and real simple process. Now I'm going to want to get it thicker than that, so I'm going to have to add a little bit more flour, but try and get the chunks out of it. And, you know, that's going to be kind of an important thing when you do. Blend it well. And don't use metal tools. Use plastic coated stuff. You know, you can get this cheap stuff at the dollar store, really. That'll save you all kinds of money. And we'll go over here to my freezer. That's where I keep my flour. And I'm going to yank out some more stuff that I actually, I might get to open my drawer. Look at there. My cameraman, which is my tripod, and me. Okay, whisking a little bit more flour there. We're going to take a short break here. Okay, so got the flour loaded in there. I'll just whisk this up. Keep it going here. Want to make sure it's nice and well blended. So I was born a poor brown child, and because of that, I'm my own cameraman. I'm not as well off as my good buddy Todd Riley, or, you know, some of them big artist types. So, you know, I do everything myself here by hand, unless I use my mixer. That's my only other hired hand. My dishwasher quit on me when I did my last video, so got tired of me and said I was too harsh, too mouthy. Okay, see, that is a nice smooth blend, and you can make it a little bit thicker than that. And there's really no need, because you're going to be adding. Okay, I lied. See, there's our first lie. Can we survive it? That's the real question. Okay, so we'll just blend in a little bit more, just like that. Whisk it up real nice, and boom, baby, we're about done. This is really a short clip. It's not going to take that long. See, that's all there is to getting your starter started. Now, what you're going to do here is, once this is done, and we're just about there, okay, you're going to make sure that you'll take your lid here and you'll throw it on top, just like so. And I mark mine because, you know, starter A, B, C, D, whatever. And that's going to sit out on the counter for 24 hours. And then what most people will do is they'll take another container, and like me, for instance, and I will start another starter. But otherwise, you'll take half of this, you'll throw it out, and then you'll mix another cup of water and cup of flour and blend it again. You'll leave that sit out for 24 hours. And this may take a week to develop. You could have it develop in 3 or 4 days. But it's a real simple process, and it doesn't take much to do. And once your starter gets all nice and bubbly and thick and kind of, beery looking, and this is my actual starter bee here. This one is over a year old. See, it's all kind of gooey, and this liquid here can sometimes turn black. For the most part, a lot of people like to call this stuff here the hooch. Kind of smells like beer, but don't drink it. This stuff is really potent, and actually, when you're getting ready to use this, what I do is I'll just, take a whisk, and again, don't stir this with metal tools because sometimes you can get a reaction, and that can really be kind of screwy. That can mess you up. So, you just simply want to blend this up. And then you'll take another flour water mix just like this, and I'll usually use a full cup. And you'll take this starter and you'll pour it into here, and you'll blend it up, and then you'll let that sit out for, say, an hour, 2, 3, 4, 5, however long you want it to sour up again. And then when that's ready, this will be your base to actually mix up dough and make bread. But it's a very simple process, and we'll take you all through that. But for the meantime, this is what you're going to use to create a starter and eventually come up with this. So, we'll pick this up again a little bit later, 24 hours later to be exact, and I'll take you to the next step of taking this particular batch to the next phase of creating your starter. Till the next time, this is the Metal Chef Rocker. We'll see you then. Okay, back with you. We've jumped up here on you a couple days because the process is pretty basic, and I'm going to shut off my fan here because otherwise you're not going to be able to hear me talk. It gets a little bit loud there. So I'm dropping the last little bit of flour in here because it's the last little bit of my flour. So basically I want to whisk this in. This is going to sit in again overnight. And this should take me to the last level and really get this prepared as my starter base. So you can see how this is thickened out. And it's the same process over the last few days. All you do is you keep mixing the flour and water in, and make sure you don't use water with chlorine. And yes, as far as the flour goes, do not use bleached flour. That's critical. If you use bleached flour, you're going to have a problem. You're going to kill your starter. So you want to make sure that you absolutely used unbleached, all-natural, organic flour. Your bread's going to come out much better, and of course your starter, well, it's going to be the best. So, and then always try and use filtered water. You'll notice a dramatic change in this within 24 hours. I don't even think this is going to have to sit for another 24 hours. This has actually come out so good. So we'll let it set up. And you also don't want this to be, in a too cool of a room. Warm room is better, ferments a little bit better, and that's actually the process it's going through. It's fermenting. So we'll check on it again in another day as soon as I'm finished here. And you got to watch these little whisks here, these little dollar store things. They'll break apart on you and fall into your mix if you're not careful. But they're cheap, and you can buy a little container full of them. It doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. Big thing is they're plastic coated. Let's get something to set underneath that while I carry it over to the sink. Actual mixing cup will do just fine. And there you go. So we will simply cover that for one more night. check on it then. And it's going to get a little bit bubbly. You're going to want to make sure that can get some air because there's natural yeast in the air, and that's going to help this build and rise. So we'll check on that again in a day, and that should be ready to go. Till the next time, this is the Metal Chef, Rocker. Okay, back with you on the starter. Now look at that. That is a beautiful thing. This is developed nicely. It's all foamy. You could actually, oh man, the smell off of that is just wonderful. See, even the lid on this got a little bit steamy, if you can see that. But this is perfect. That's what you want your starter to look like. And you could go ahead and put this in another container. Remember, on your starter containers, what you want to do, and I usually do it around the top here, is I'll put some air holes in the lid. And then that's ready to go. Stick it in the fridge. I usually put this in a small container, but this right now is actually ready to bake bread. So what you'll do is, and I'll take you through the process, you'll throw about 3 cups of flour in your mixer, 2 teaspoons of salt, and you don't have to use a sweetener, but it's kind of recommended. And they do that more so to help the yeast rise. That's my dog in the background, Mr. Yappy back there wants to go outside. Okay, boy, calm down, we'll get there. So I use Splenda. So I'll throw in 4 teaspoons of Splenda and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Oh man, you're overtaking the soundtrack here, brother. Back down, baby, back down. Okay. All right, so anyway, and then you'll mix it up and you'll have your dough. I'm going to have to take a break here and get him out. Be right back with you. Okay, so basically, there you have it in a few steps. There is your starter. And all you have to do is, once a month, if you're not using this, they recommend that you throw out about half of it, and then another cup of water, cup of flour, blend that up first, and then you feed this. It's really simple. Not a lot to it. And you'll always guarantee yourself that you'll have fresh yeast as a builder to start your bread. But the next step I'll take you through is actually preparing and baking bread. So we'll take that segment next. And until the next time, baby, this is the Metal Chef Rocker. Good cooking.